Hi, everybody. This is Jon Toker from Biz Insider. We are having our episode number 6, President's Edition. I have a very special guest here with me today, Don Romano from Hyundai Canada. So, hi, Don. How are you today?
John, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much for being on the show. We have quite a few audience right now. So, why don't I put you in the spotlight? You introduce yourself to us. Tell us about
Yeah,
who's Don Romano and all that good stuff.
let's do it, John. Well, hello, everybody. Again, I'm Don Romano. I'm the president and CEO of Hyundai Canada. Uh, I love talking to auto enthusiasts. So, this is a great opportunity, John, to just chat about what we love, and that is automobiles. And this is an industry that's under immense change right now that you all know about. I mean, whether it's electrification, connected cars, autonomous cars, whether it's selling direct, selling through dealers. I mean, we could talk about 1,000 different things. So, John, I'll just turn to you and let's rock and roll.
Perfect. So before jumping into the questions, I had an opportunity to listen to other podcasts that you were on before, and I actually learned that you were a pilot before getting in the car business. So would you like to talk about that a little bit? Because I feel it's very interesting topic. So
I mean, I had dark hair then. That was a long time ago. And when I was in university, I was working for Flying Tiger Airlines in Los Angeles. And my career was going to be a commercial cargo pilot. And one day I learned business the hard way and I showed up to work. Flying Tigers at the time had the most extensive pilot training program outside of the military. And you didn't want to go into the military. So if you were able to get accepted into the Flying Tiger training program, much preferable. So I showed up one day and there was yellow tape all over the building and police outside, and we had gone belly up. And so I walked up and I said, well, I can still finish all of my certifications. And I was at the time working on flying a 707, but I wanted my 747 and certification. And they said, yeah, sure. Just the military office for recruiting is down the road. And this is before Desert Storm and all the other fun things that happened in the world. So anyway, I was driving home with my tail between my legs, wondering what I was going to do for a living. I still had another year of university that I had to finish. And I happened to drive by one of my competitors' headquarters for North America. And I thought, hey, airplanes, cars, why not? Let's stop by. So I stopped by and filled out an application, and they laughed me out the door. But then they called me back and said, hey, actually, we have a private pilot that is one of our directors, would like to meet with you. Hired me on the spot. And that was almost 40 years ago. Never looked back. Been in the car business ever since. Never got my private pilot license. I only wanted commercial. I wasn't a jet. I wasn't interested, but I didn't want to drop bombs. So anyway, that's why I'm here. And it's been a great career. I've lived in 6 different countries. I've seen this. I've seen a lot of change, but nothing like I've seen in the last 2 to 3 years. There is definitely no better time to be in this industry than now if you like change. If you don't, probably best to, go do something else for a living.
yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, and it's very interesting to see that the pilot background and then your transition into the automotive business. Because I like planes a lot, and when I was a kid, I was looking into becoming a pilot too, and I love it a lot. And I lived in multiple countries too, thanks to my family, and we traveled a lot. And every time we take a plane, they used to give little those badges, like a pin that you can put on your chest. And I had ones from like multiple different airline companies.
I remember those. Well, I'll tell you now, Hyundai is one of the leaders in air transportation. We're developing drone systems for transportation as we look at transportation in the future, not necessarily just from automotive, but from mobility, a mobility perspective, and how are we going to take care of the transportation needs of customers in the future beyond just selling them a car, providing options on travel, options on the terms and lengths that you have a vehicle. There's a lot of stuff that's under investigation, some under development right now, that's going to change the landscape of transportation. So maybe that air transportation background will come into play before I retire.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, I jump right into my questions that I prepared for you. Hopefully, this will help out to the viewers and listeners too, because you know you don't get to have someone like you on your show all the time, and it's good to hear that from you, these answers. So, uh, my first question is, Hyundai has been having a tremendous success in past couple of years, right? The product quality is significantly up. Companies making cars that are fun to drive, great features, and very affordable. Uh, what do you guys do secret? Like, what's your secret sauce here? Like, how do you guys manage? Because like JD Power rankings, like I just see one, the reliability is through the roof. They're very affordable too, right? They're easy to access your vehicles for younger generation, any generation, and very high demand product. And you guys are one of the best warranty in the market too. Uh, what's the secret here?
Innovation, you never can stop, especially in today's environment. Understanding your customer base first and foremost, what they're looking for, and then delivering it, and then also delivering things that they might not be thinking about, that they find that soon become irreplaceable, that they have to it's a need, not a want. There were times where we would look at ABS as a want. Now it's a need, right? And a lot of functionality going into the cars are quickly becoming needs. But it's always trying to stay a step ahead. And that's hard in this environment. But I believe our engineers and our R&D centers in Korea, coupled with our plants across the globe, they've been quick to adapt, and we are now the second largest EV seller in Canada, next to that other car company based in Silicon Valley. But our goal now, we've had our dealers invest, close to $1 billion in upgrading their facilities and preparing for electric vehicle sales, in upgrading the brand. If you consider where we came from, where we were, as you mentioned, John, just a company that focused on the lower end of the market. We've grown up and we've matured as a brand by investing in our customer engagement processes and in the products, and we're just skimming the surface right now, because this is going to continue to change, and we got to stay ahead of that change. And I think when you again just take electric vehicles as just one example, we're number 2 in the country right now, and some of our competitors have yet to introduce one all-electric vehicle. So I think that's the type of attitude it takes to have a sustainable success model to ensure that you're going to be relevant in the future.
Well, congratulations on that spot. I'm sure you guys will soon surpass, and maybe you become number 1 soon. You never know, right? But
better. That's it. If you're not going for number 1, stay on the porch. If you're not going to run with the big dogs, so we're running.
That's really good. That goes to my second question, which is related to the electric cars. So, the latest car introduced by Hyundai, the Ioniq 5. I don't know if I'm pronouncing properly. Ioniq 5, is that how you guys say it?
It's perfect.
Yeah. Which is called by one of the best EVs for 2022, right?
Yeah.
But how did you guys manage to introduce Ioniq 5 during a global chip shortage? Like how
it's
is it
hard.
even possible?
No, everything's hard right now with the chip shortage. Whether it's an Ioniq 5 or a Palisade or an Elantra or a Tucson, I mean, we've just come out with complete new lineup of vehicles right at the time when the chips are down, and you couldn't ask for a more challenging period to try to launch new vehicles when you can't get the components necessary to build them. But we happen to be probably the best, if not one of the best, at securing chips for our production. We're leading the country right now in growth, so we're we're holding our own, if not maybe even doing a little better, but it's still nowhere near demand. Supply is still well below demand. And that, I speak not just for Hyundai, but I think for the industry in that respect. And it's going to take time for the industry to catch up. So I think you're going to see, again, inventories being tight. We do not have enough Ioniq 5s to go around right now. But if you asked me a year ago, did you have enough EVs to meet demand? I would have said I had more EVs than demand with the Kona EV, which is one of the best-selling EVs in Canada and a phenomenal vehicle, the vehicle I drive, actually. So it's fantastic. But, you have to deal with the cards that are dealt, and you've got to do the best you can. So what we do now is we work on taking orders. We try to be as transparent with the customers to give them a proper time frame that the vehicles will likely be produced, assuming everything stays consistent. And we just try to maintain communication with those customers so they know where the car is and where they stand in terms of delivery. It's not easy. This is all new. This didn't happen before COVID. And it's not just COVID. I mean, there's also a lot of demand that's been pent up with respect to new systems in the car for safety and for drivability and for entertainment, all requiring more chips. So you have you have challenges with supply chain, you have challenges with employment, you have great demand, and you're now building cars that need even more. And it's when you put all that together that you have the situation that we face today. However, it is temporary. Nothing is like this is permanent. It's just a matter of working through these things. And I believe, we're going to see relief later this year. I think it's still going to be tight. I think 2023, we're going to be getting back to normal because you can see the chip makers moving quickly. You can see the supply chain issues will get resolved. And we'll be off and running. And at that point, we'll be introducing the Ioniq 6, the Ioniq 7. We're bringing out the GV, our Genesis brand, the GV60. It's just a little tight on supply right now.
That's very impressive because, as you said, these EVs have a lot more components than a traditional vehicle. They need more sensors to run with more chips. Yeah. So my assumption was like Ioniq 5 probably has a lot more chips than an Accent or Sonata, right? So
yes.
That's why I was shocked when you guys pulled this car out and you guys are selling hotcakes. I'm like, where did they get the chip from to build these cars?
Well, just imagine all the cars in the future will be connected so that we can begin to diagnose problems before they occur, right? So that improves the safety of the vehicle and our ability to, hey, by the way, we need to have something checked out before it becomes a problem. That requires chips. Front end collision, lane keep assist systems. I mean, the list goes on and on, John. Chips are part of the current and future of the automotive industry, and they're not going to get less. They're only going to get more. So,
absolutely,
they won't be down forever, though.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Our dependence on the chips probably going to be even more and more and more the technological features, especially when we're talking about these self-driving cars. When we get more self-driving cars,
it's
right?
Not just cars, right? It's these things too. It's these things too. This is the world of technology that we're all moving into. So, I'll tell you what, though, John, our focus is really, less about the product. We leave that to the engineers and the R&D people in the States and in Korea and over in Europe. What our focus has to be here in Canada is on customer service, period. And that's going to be the key differentiator of the brand in the future. And, it's easy to say, it's not easy to do because you're dealing with a vehicle that's driving in multiple conditions, having to endure a lot of different challenges on the road. But if you don't take care of your customers, your growth is not going to be sustainable. Your success won't be sustainable. So this to me is the biggest challenge, not the chips, but providing the best possible customer service. And a lot of that has to do with the ways in which we engage with customers. The old way of kicking tires on a car lot and then walking into a dealership are pretty much gone. Most of the business is transacted online, and it's requiring a lot of new systems and processes to provide greater transparency, ease of doing business, scheduling service appointments quickly, being able to, again, take care of customers online. So that is really what I have our organization focused on, is just making it easier, better, more enjoyable to do business with Hyundai than our competitors.
That's really good for consumers to know that that someone who's in charge of the company is that's your main focus, to keep them happy and give them a seamless transaction experience online or offline, right? Which is good, because I hear your other podcast too, and you talk, somebody asked you a
Yeah.
question about, which is going to be my next question, kind of, about that online purchase experience. And you said, yes, we provide all the service we could, but we still believe that there's a human touch in some part of the process, and
There's
we're
no
willing to provide that too.
well, the car can't be streamed, right?
Yep.
So you're going to have to ultimately go pick it up, and the cars are very complex now. And you may, if you, they're space shuttles on wheels now, and what you need to do is invest the time, not haggling, not negotiating, not grinding, but explaining how the car functions, and to make sure everything's intuitive before the customer drives off the lot. That can't be done in a 10-minute delivery. It could take hours to go through and make sure that all the systems and connectivity, that your Apple or your Android are properly connected. You know how to work it. You know what systems you can turn on and off. And there's a lot of customization. It's not just moving a seat up and back, but a lot of our cars, the lighting in the cars can be adjusted. The ride, the handling. I was driving the other day up in Collingwood, and had to shift it to snow mode, and that was phenomenal. But are all these functions being properly explained to customers? And I think we need to do a better job as an industry of teaching our customers how their vehicles operate, so they get maximum use out of the functionality that's being built into these cars. We're developing an app right now that helps the dealerships actually check and go through everything that's being done, all the way up to taking your XM radio stations and making sure they're set to the things you want to listen to, and make sure that you are very familiar with every feature. And to me, that's part of customer service right there. So when what it's like when you go from an old car to a new car, and the new car has different functionality, and you're like, how do I do this? And I don't ever want that to happen. I want people to be that transition to be in the hands of our dealers who do the delivery, and they're like, yeah, I know how this car is going to function and how to make adjustments, but for the most part, it's all set and ready to go for me right now. That's got to be our focus going forward. We do it with Genesis right now, and Genesis, when it comes down to sales, in its first year of being monitored, was ranked second in the country for customer satisfaction. And we used a completely different model, John. We sell completely online. You buy from us, the factory, and our agencies that are out there, there's 30 of them throughout the country, their focus is delivery. It's not on the price is set. It's all inclusive. It includes all your maintenance. So you pay one price, we pick up, we deliver, and we just try to make your life easier. And I think for the enthusiasts listening here, that I think we want that for every vehicle, but it's a lot different when you're selling 10,000 Genesis versus 150,000 Hyundais. So it's going to take a lot more work to get Hyundai to where Genesis is.
So yeah, that's actually going to be my next question, because so is there any plan in place for consumers to purchase Hyundai vehicles like the Genesis brand, which has that complete online experience that you were talking about? Is that something plan going to happen for Hyundai too soon, or?
It's going to happen for everybody, whether they know it or not. I don't care what the brand is on the outside of that car. If you don't, you're not going to have any customers coming to your website and buying your product. It's going to become an expectation. Right now, it's a benefit. It's a want, but it will become a need in the future. These cars are too complex not to be able to spend the time with the customers on the product, unless you only have so much time, right? So you're not going to walk into a dealership after you've done everything online and then spend 8 hours in finance. It just isn't going to happen. You're going to walk in. They are going to make sure that that all of your paperwork's in order, because there's a lot of financing that goes on, and that's not an easy process. And the registration, and there are products out there that give you extended service, maintenance, and warranties, and protection that they're going to want to make sure you understand. But we're talking 30 minutes and not hours of time. Now you deduct that from that process and you invest that time with the customer and their vehicle. You don't have a customer drive off that lot. You have an enthusiast and an ambassador for your product driving off that lot. And that's what the future is all about. And I didn't want to mention, but I'll just say it. I mean, when you look at Tesla buyers, it's not just a company, it's a cult, because those people are crazy about their products, and they're crazy about it because they know every inch of that product. And we have to be at that same level, where you just need to understand, with all the technology, how it operates, what it does, what it doesn't do, how it makes your life better. And you have to feel comfortable. Everything has to be intuitive. And, that's the task in front of us for Hyundai. And that's the task we're going to achieve.
Well, I'm blown away. I feel like I'm in 2035 and talking to the Hyundai's president in 2035, not 2022. It's just like
That'd
it's
be a
just
different president by that time, my friend.
no,
Yeah.
it's just amazing the stuff that you're telling, and
Well,
it's just I'm blown away. You
let
know.
me let me raise another issue that I think is imperative for our industry, to achieve that by 2035. Heck, to achieve it by 2025, and that is, our customers that are buying our products. They don't look like me. They're not from my age group, and that means we have. If you look at the people buying our cars, if you look at Canada in general, what do you see? You see a very diverse group of people out there from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all different colors of skin, different religions, different ethnicities, and different sexual orientations, and all these things. That makes what makes Canada great. But you're not going to relate to these people if you have nothing but a bunch of 60-year-old guys running, old white guys like me running the company. And it's imperative, I think, that our industry, which has been dominated by white males for far too long, this never should have happened, but it is. We have to change that. So I would say, above and beyond everything else I told you, my goal is the diversification of my organization, so that they can better relate to the customers in the future that are doing business with our brand, and knowing how they feel about our brand, and knowing how to deliver on their expectations. And that requires more females, that people of color, people from different walks of life. I mean, we're a country of immigrants. I'm an immigrant. I
Me
am a
too.
Canadian, but
I'm,
and
I'm
you're an
an
immigrant,
immigrant too.
which is great. I think that's what makes Canada great. But our industry has been slow to adjust, and we need to speed that up at light speed. And we need to start putting, if you take a look at some of my competitors that have females running their companies and the success that they're achieving, that's not a coincidence. I mean, you can relate better when your executive team reflects your customer base. So I think that we got a lot of work to do in this area. And I don't think I know, and I want to lead in that. I don't want to just be I can't be the best at customer service if I don't have people that can relate to our customers.
You're absolutely 100% right. When I was doing a little bit of research about you too, I see that uh your I think Automotive News you spoke with, and you said exactly like that, and it was very impressive to see that. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to reach you, to talk to you, because you're championing diversity. So, and me being myself as an immigrant, and in car business, it was a perfect person to reach first to, and it was
Well,
really good. Uh,
any CEO that isn't thinking this way in our industry should not be in the chair that they're sitting in, because you always want, as a CEO, you want to leave the company in better condition than you received it. Better financial condition, better business condition, but more importantly, better employee condition, better with the right people that can lead the company into the future. Because we establish a vision for the future of where we want to take this company, and we have over 10,000 employees when you use all the dealers and all the people that are involved with our business, and they're all looking to us. And what do they see? And it's important that they don't just agree, but they embrace the importance of diversity. And there's obviously an importance from a social perspective, but there's also an importance from a business perspective. And you can look at it hopefully both ways and say, listen, as a human being, from a humanitarian point of view, this is the right thing to do. From a business perspective, this is the right thing to do. And when you put those two together, you put the company on the right track.
Wow, that's amazing. I'll ask my last question. This is the question I'm really curious, because I would consider that's area of my expertise, and I spent a lot of time on this about used cars. Uh, I remember seeing online that Hyundai offers short-term rentals at select Ontario dealerships.
Yeah.
And I was super excited about it. So I got a couple questions about this. How did it work out? What was the feedback from dealers? Because in my first podcast, I had it with a gentleman from Florida, Brian Kramer, who runs a big dealership there. And they get into the rental car business to generate used car inventory. He calls them a used car factory, basically. So he puts these cars on, rent them out, then bring them back and sell them as a used car. What was the feedback from your those select dealers, or it became now countrywide? Like, what's the
Yeah,
situation with that?
it was difficult. We lost our insurance. Our insurance company pulled back. I won't name the insurance company, but you just can't do it unless you can provide rentals with insurance. So what we did is we decided, but we did have good demand. So what we decided to do is we connected with Turo, which is a ride-sharing company. And I can't give a lot of details at this point. It will be announced in the next couple of months, but we'll be working with Turo to provide short-term mobility solutions for people. So we're going to be putting it in the hands, the same strategy, but we'll put it in the hands of a partnership that has the insurance capabilities to provide short-term ownership for people. And so that's the direction we're kind of just, we're not changing course, but we're changing this, we're adjusting the sails a bit to try a different approach to something that we had a lot of demand for, but we're unable to properly execute because we didn't have the support of the companies we needed that had come into this with us to help us do this. And when we lost the insurance, obviously the program was no longer viable.
That's unfortunate.
We'll still do it. No, we'll still do it. You'll hear about it shortly, though. I can't give too much information, or my public relations executive here will kill me. It has to be announced properly.
Of course. I'm just trying to, because I was very excited when I see that news. I'm like, that's really smart, because the used car business is good in terms of, talking about creating an ecosystem like your EV competitor, right? And you give people an opportunity to drive your car for a short term without a commitment. And maybe they're going to fall in love with the car and they have an option to buy it out.
Yeah.
Or even if they don't, that car comes back, and then you can make that car as a certified pre-owned and sell through your dealership network too, right?
What you're talking about is the future of mobility. This is where we are all going to have to go. In other words, do you need a car sitting in your garage for 80% of the time? Yeah, you're paying for it. You're paying insurance for it. It's depreciating. Think about it. I mean, the logic would say, no, we got to come up with better solutions than giving somebody selling them a car and financing it for 7 years.
Makes sense. We got a couple. I can think we got one question came from LinkedIn. So, if you still have a couple more minutes.
Yeah, I do. Sure.
Are there any plans for a CarBravo type of platform for their used units? Are you aware of that? I don't know what
Yeah, yeah,
CarBravo is.
of course, and yeah, we are. I can't get into it right now, but absolutely. Again, it gets back to the whole idea of mobility and providing options. The more options you can provide customers, the more customers you're going to have with your engaged in your brand. So CarBravo type of solutions. We have a CPO program right now, but we are going to be moving in a different direction with our used cars. We want them to be certified, which means when you buy it, it's gone through a rigorous process of evaluation and upgrades. Where if the brakes are low, or if there's something that's wrong with the vehicle, it's fixed before you drive it off the lot. So certification does that. But then the way in which you acquire that vehicle, that's the thing that we're working on now, and we're working closely with the U.S. as well, with the team down there, to come up with one North American solution.
That's very good. Well, we're in that 30-minute mark. I know you're an extremely busy person, run a huge company. So before we close up, is there anything else you want to add? Anything at all? I'll put you in the spotlight. You can talk about it, then we'll wrap it up.
No, I think, man, we've covered a lot of ground in a very short period of time. And I just appreciate the fact that you have all these people that are interested in the car business, interested in cars. It's all going to change. So the way we look at it today, whether it's the product or the processes that engage people with a brand in our industry, it's all going to change. So, and hopefully it's going to change, not just, I know it's going to change for Hyundai, but hopefully for the whole industry. We're going to become much more in alignment with the future expectations that customers have for our companies. And that's a tall order when you're transitioning a complete system of vehicle production from combustion engines to electrification. But that is the future. We are all going to be driving electric vehicles, whether we want to accept that or not. It is going to happen. We also are going to be looking at alternatives such as fuel cells for certain applications. But the bottom line is we need to create a better future. And these vehicles, this technology is going to be part of that. But within that technology, there's still a lot of room for improvement. I would not say every electric vehicle is built as efficiently as it could be. So, and we're also dealing with a lot of issues on a global basis with, potential wars and different geopolitical issues that make some of the sharing of technology even more difficult. So we have to overcome some of the geopolitical issues. Our governments are going to have to step up in those areas, and we just got to look that this world's getting smaller, and the need for us to continue to work on improving the environment and taking care of the environment, and at the same time taking care of our customers is going to, the challenges are only going to grow. So that's where we're headed, and hopefully we'll get there sooner than later. And that's it, John.
Well, I really appreciate it. I'm blown away. I learned a lot of stuff from you today. Really appreciate for your time. Hope we can do this sometime again, sometime down the road. Maybe when it's a little bit warmer.
Are you going to be at NADA? Are you any plans to head down to the NADA conference?
Unfortunately, this year I won't be able to, but next year for sure. I did
Good.
my booster shot and everything, but I still don't feel confident to go in case. The issue is like you may get test positive even though you have no symptoms and you may not be able to come back.
Yeah, and then what do
Right.
you do? I don't blame you. And
So,
I don't think it's over yet, but I do think we've seen the light at the end of the tunnel. It's not a train coming at us either. It's the sunshine. So hopefully we're nearing the end and we can get back to the life we had before the pandemic.
hope so. Are you going to be? Are you will be attending?
Yeah,
Right?
I have to go down there. I mean, that's my dealers are down there, and part of everything I talked about is working with our dealers to make these things a reality. So where our dealers are, there I will be, and they are our partners. And if the closer we work together, the faster we can deliver on everything I talked about.
That's very good. Well, in case somebody wants to reach you, have a question, what is the best form of communication to reach Don Romano?
LinkedIn is good. Easy to get on LinkedIn and connect. So that's usually the best. And if people want to talk car talk or talk plane talk, uh, airlines, cars, any kind of transport. You want to talk trains? I'm good with all of it. So that's the best way to reach me. It's just Don Romano on LinkedIn. You'll see my
Perfect.
face, unfortunately.
No, that's really good. You're pretty active on LinkedIn. I see that too. And well, again, thank you very much for your time today. And hopefully, we can connect again sometime.
Yeah, I like it.
But as to our viewers and listeners, if you would like to reach Don Romano, you have specific questions, you can reach him out on LinkedIn and probably send him a communication request and send him a message, and he'll be more than happy to help you. If you missed the live streaming, you can always go to YouTube and watch this. Also, you can listen to this conversation on your favorite podcast. So you can go to Apple, Google, all over the place. You like to listen in the car. But it's been an absolute pleasure, Don. As a human being, you're a phenomenal, great person. People work for you. You're extremely lucky to work for you.
Thanks,
Uh,
John.
it,
Yeah,
it,
depends on the day, John. But yeah, maybe today. Well, it's been a pleasure, John, and thanks for doing what you do. I just, it's good to have people like you that are keeping our industry in the forefront of everybody's mind and helping clarify some of the things that are going on out there. So
Thank you,
thank you.
Don. All the best. Have a great day, and
Take
we'll
care.
chat later. Okay.
Thanks to everybody for joining. Take care.